The sky above Earth burned bright with streaks of red and orange as the Galactic Council launched its massive orbital bombardment. It was a strike so powerful that it shattered the peace of the entire planet. Without warning, a city, once filled with life, with towering skyscrapers, bustling markets and children playing in the streets, was reduced to rubble in mere minutes. The bright lights of its buildings, the sounds of life, and the hopes of its people were wiped away by the relentless bombardment from space. Thousands died instantly, their lives snuffed out in a blink of an eye. The attack was brutal, swift, and without mercy. The shockwaves from the explosions reached the furthest corners of the planet, sending tremors through the ground. Buildings collapsed in a cloud of dust, and fires raged uncontrollably across the streets. The entire city was nothing more than a smoldering wreck, and with it, the dreams of countless innocent civilians were erased in an instant. For the leaders of Earth, it was a wake-up call, a moment of pure desperation. They gathered in secret, huddled together in the safe underground bunkers, trying to figure out what to do next. The Galactic Council had declared their war, and Earth had no choice but to fight back. The Council had always considered humanity weak, insignificant, a primitive species among the stars. But this attack, it was more than an act of aggression. It was a declaration that Earth was now their enemy. Meanwhile, diplomats and negotiators were sent to the Galactic Council's representatives, hoping for peace. The humans begged, pleaded, and offered every possible concession, but their words fell on deaf ears. Instead of negotiating, they were insulted. The leaders of the Galactic Council dismissed Earth's offers, mocking the humans for thinking they could stand up to them. "You are nothing," the Galactic Council's emissary had said with a smirk. "Your people are weak, your technology is primitive, and you have no place in this galaxy." In that moment, a cold, bitter anger gripped Earth's leaders. Peace was no longer an option. The humans realized that if they wanted to survive, they would have to fight back, not just to defend their homes, but to defend their very existence. But they were not alone in their determination. A legend whispered in the corridors of Earth's military base, a legend passed down from the ancient times of humanity's forgotten past. It spoke of an ancient fleet, one that was hidden away in secret, buried beneath the ice in Antarctica. This fleet, older than any technology humanity had ever known, had the power to match any force in the galaxy, but it had never been activated until now. The legend said the fleet could only be awakened in times of extreme danger, when humanity's very survival was at risk. The time had come. At the heart of this legend stood Captain Ethan Carter, a man whose personal loss drove him to seek revenge against the Galactic Council. Ethan had lost everything when the attack took his family, his wife, his children, all gone in an instant, swept away by the devastation of the bombardment. He was left with nothing but rage and a burning desire for vengeance. As the leader of a special task force, Ethan knew this was his moment, his chance to prove humanity's strength. But the journey would not be easy. In order to activate the ancient fleet, there was only one person on Earth who could unlock its power, a leader with the right bloodline. And Ethan was that leader. He had the right genes, the right heritage to awaken the fleet's dormant power. But it came with a cost. The fleet's activation was not a simple task. It was dangerous and would require Ethan to put everything on the line. As Ethan stood at the edge of the shattered city, looking at the smoke rising from the ruins, he felt the weight of the decision ahead of him. He had nothing left to lose. His vengeance would be the spark that would ignite humanity's fight for survival. He turned to his team, a group of soldiers who had seen the worst of the war, and said only one thing: "We will make them regret this." The human race was about to make its stand. Deep beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica, Earth's military and top scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. Hidden away for centuries, buried under layers of thick ice and snow, they found an ancient control center, one that had remained untouched by time. The center had been forgotten by history, a relic from humanity's long-forgotten past. No one knew how it had been built, or why it had been hidden so far away from the rest of civilization. As they carefully dug into the frozen landscape, excitement and fear began to build. The team had expected to find old ruins, maybe some artifacts from a past era, but nothing had prepared them for what they uncovered. The control center was vast, its architecture far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. The walls, though ancient, still held a strange, glowing energy, an aura that whispered of lost technology and forgotten power. In the heart of this control center, they found what could only be described as a miracle. It was an AI hologram, its image flickering into life as soon as the team made contact with the main console. The hologram stood before them, a being of light and circuitry, its voice calm and unyielding. "I am the last guardian of Earth's ancient fleet," the hologram said, its voice echoing in the chamber. "Only one with the bloodline of the original fleet's commanders can activate it. The time has come. Your people are on the brink of annihilation. This fleet is your last hope." The message was clear, and it sent a chill down Ethan Carter's spine. He was the one the hologram spoke of, the one who could unlock the power of the fleet hidden beneath the ice. The weight of this revelation settled heavily on his shoulders. He had come here seeking answers, but now he faced a decision that could change everything. He was told that activating the fleet was not a simple task. The process was dangerous, and there was no guarantee it would work. The power needed to awaken the fleet would generate an immense energy surge, one so powerful that it would be felt across the entire galaxy. Ethan knew that the Galactic Council would detect this surge instantly, and they would come for Earth with even more force than before. But it was a risk they had no choice but to take. As Ethan looked at the hologram, the AI explained in more detail. "The fleet has been dormant for millennia. It is an ancient weapon, built with technology that your people barely understand. If you choose to activate it, you will be unleashing the greatest power humanity has ever known, but at a great cost." The decision was his. Ethan glanced at his team, his trusted soldiers and scientists, standing around him. They were ready to fight, to give everything for the survival of their planet. But he could see the doubt in their eyes. They all knew the risks. This was a gamble that could either save humanity or lead to their doom. As he stood there, his mind raced. He thought about the destruction that had already been brought upon Earth. He thought of the lives lost, the cities reduced to ashes. Most of all, he thought of his own family. He had lost everything in that brutal attack from the Galactic Council. The pain was still fresh, and the desire for revenge burned within him. This was his chance, not just for vengeance, but for survival, for humanity's future. "I will do it," Ethan finally declared, his voice strong and resolute. "We have no other choice. Activate the fleet." The moment the words left his mouth, the control center began to hum with energy. It was as if the very ground beneath them had come alive. The air grew thick with anticipation. The hologram flickered again, its image solidifying as the AI began the activation sequence. In the distance, hidden beneath miles of ice, the ancient fleet stirred. Ethan could feel it. It was as if the ships themselves were waking from a long, deep sleep. The ice began to crack and groan as powerful engines, dormant for centuries, roared back to life. It was an overwhelming sight. Massive warships, once thought to be relics of the past, now powered up and ready for battle. The team watched in awe and fear as the control center's walls began to pulse with bright, blinding lights. Outside, the icebergs shook as the ancient fleet slowly emerged from their frozen tombs. These ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Their designs were sleek, futuristic, and almost alien, as though they had been built with a technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. But with the rise of this ancient power came a terrible cost. The energy surge that had been unleashed from the fleet's activation was not something Earth's technology could easily handle. The entire planet could feel the shockwave, rippling through the atmosphere. The energy created by the fleet's awakening was so intense that it sent tremors across the globe. Even the Galactic Council's most advanced sensors would not be able to ignore it. Across the galaxy, the Council's forces began to stir. They felt the surge of power and knew immediately what had happened. Earth had awakened something ancient, something dangerous. But they also knew that they could not let Earth use this power without consequences. They would come for the fleet. And they would come with everything they had. For Ethan, there was no turning back. The fleet had been activated, and now humanity's fate hung in the balance. As he looked out over the icy landscape, he saw the first of the ancient warships rising from the ice, its massive guns glinting in the sunlight. He knew this was only the beginning. The fight for survival had only just begun. And in the heart of the Arctic, surrounded by ancient technology, Earth's warriors were ready to face their greatest challenge yet. With the ancient fleet now activated, Earth's soldiers and scientists wasted no time. The fleet's long-dormant engines had roared back to life, and the warriors of Earth were preparing for their first real strike against the Galactic Council. For the first time, humanity had the power to challenge the advanced alien empire that had terrorized their world. The stakes were higher than ever, and the weight of responsibility pressed down on Captain Ethan Carter's shoulders. Ethan stood aboard the command ship, looking out at the vast array of ships now under Earth's command. The fleet, once buried beneath the icy landscape of Antarctica, now filled the skies with power and might. Each ship was a testament to the strength of humanity, built with technology far beyond what Earth's enemies could imagine. Armed with cloaking devices, advanced AI systems, and powerful energy weapons, the fleet was unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever encountered. The first strike was a bold one. The target? The Galactic Council's flagship, a massive warship known as the Tyrant. It was the pride of the Council's fleet. Its weapons, shields, and AI systems were all considered unmatched. However, Earth had one advantage that the Council had underestimated: surprise. The Galactic Council had never expected humans to be capable of organizing such a counterattack, especially not with their outdated technology. But now, with the ancient fleet at their disposal, humanity was ready to show them just how wrong they were. The moment the attack was initiated, the fleet's cloaking devices kicked in. The ships became nearly invisible to the enemy, their movements undetectable by conventional sensors. Captain Ethan Carter watched as the fleet moved into position, a silent predator preparing to strike. His heart raced, not just with the excitement of battle, but with the realization that this was humanity's chance for survival. This was their first real shot at defeating the Galactic Council. As the fleet closed in on the Tyrant, Ethan's voice crackled over the comms, giving the order for the attack. The moment his words hit the airwaves, the silence of space was shattered. The fleet dropped its cloak, revealing itself in an instant. For the Galactic Council, the sight was nothing short of shocking. A fleet of warships, ships that they thought had been buried under centuries of ice, had just materialized in front of them. And they were about to unleash hell. The first volley of shots from the fleet's energy cannons lit up the sky. Bright beams of blue and red light streaked across the black expanse of space, hitting the Tyrant with devastating force. The massive ship shook as its shields flared in an attempt to block the attack, but the power of the ancient fleet was overwhelming. The energy blasts rocked the flagship, causing it to veer off course. The crew aboard the Tyrant scrambled to react, but it was too late. The humans had already struck. But the battle wasn't over. As the humans' warships launched another barrage of attacks, the AI-controlled robots aboard the fleet's ships sprang into action. These advanced machines were designed for one thing: to fight. They were stronger, faster, and more efficient than any soldier the Galactic Council had ever faced. The robots moved in unison, locking onto enemy targets with pinpoint accuracy. As they engaged the Council's forces in brutal close-quarters combat, the humans followed their lead, bringing their advanced technology into the fight. The battle raged on, a fast-paced dance of destruction in the cold vastness of space. The humans' warships, though smaller and less advanced than the Council's flagship, proved to be a force to be reckoned with. They were agile, quick, and relentless. Each ship was equipped with powerful cloaking devices, allowing them to strike with the element of surprise. The Galactic Council's ships, while heavily armed, were caught off guard by the humans' unpredictable tactics and the precision of their eye-controlled robots. Orbital bombardment added another layer of chaos to the battle. The humans fired their weapons at the Council's ships, causing explosions that rocked the battlefield. The Council's flagship, the Tyrant, took hit after hit, its once pristine surface now scared by the ferocity of the human attack. But the Galactic Council wasn't about to give up easily. Their forces regrouped, launching counterattacks with a renewed fury. But the humans were ready. Captain Ethan watched as the battle unfolded, his mind racing. The underdog had struck, but there was still a long way to go. The Galactic Council wasn't known for backing down easily, and the humans had only just begun to prove their strength. But in that moment, something incredible happened. The human fleet, once thought to be a mere whisper of the past, was holding its ground against the mighty Galactic Council. And for the first time in centuries, the underdog was fighting back with everything it had. Ethan could feel the tension in the air as his ship rocked from the intensity of the battle. His crew was fighting with all their might, but there was no time for rest. The Tyrant was still standing, and it would take everything they had to bring it down. The first counterattack was a success, but the war was far from over. As the fight continued, Ethan's thoughts turned to the people of Earth, the families, the soldiers, the survivors of the brutal Galactic Council attack. They had been pushed to the brink of extinction, but now they had a chance to fight back. For them, this battle was more than just a military conflict. It was about survival, it was about revenge, and it was about proving that humanity would not bow down to anyone, not even the most powerful empire in the galaxy. With each explosion and each moment of victory, the humans grew stronger. They had taken the first step, and now they would push forward with everything they had. The Galactic Council had underestimated them. They had thought humanity would fall, but instead they had awakened the sleeping giant. And in the cold vacuum of space, the underdog was rising. The battle raged on, and Earth's soldiers faced one challenge after another. Despite their advanced technology, the Galactic Council was relentless. Each moment brought new threats, new dangers that tested the resolve of every soldier, every commander, and every ship in the fleet. But they pressed on, driven by a single purpose: to protect Earth and ensure their survival. As the Earth fleet fought back with everything they had, Captain Ethan Carter found himself in the thick of the action. His ships clashed with the Galactic Council's warships in intense, fast-paced battles. The vastness of space was filled with explosions and the constant hum of energy weapons. Every strike, every shield that held, felt like a personal victory. But as the humans fought, they also felt the heavy weight of what they were up against. Ethan was no stranger to battle. But this was different. This war wasn't just about winning. It was about survival. It was about showing the Galactic Council that humanity could not be defeated, no matter how much they tried. But it was also about something more personal. It was about the people he fought beside, the friends he had made along the way. One of those friends was Bonner, a loyal soldier who had fought by Ethan's side for years. Bonner was more than just a comrade. He was family. Ethan had trusted him with his life in countless battles. They had shared stories, laughs, and moments of victory. But now, they were facing something far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. During a critical battle, the Earth fleet faced a fierce counterattack from the Galactic Council. The Council's forces, now aware of the humans' tactics, had come prepared. Their warships unleashed waves of fire, their energy beams lighting up the darkness of space. The Earth fleet fought back with everything they had, but it wasn't enough. The Council's fleet was larger, stronger, and more advanced in some ways. Despite their bravery, the human soldiers were starting to feel the pressure. Ethan's heart sank as he watched Bonner's ship take a direct hit. The explosion was blinding, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. The shockwave from the blast sent Ethan's own ship rocking, but it was the loss of Bonner that hit him the hardest. The friend he had fought beside, the one who had shared his dreams of victory, was gone. The loss was devastating. It felt like a punch to the gut, a crushing blow that threatened to undo everything Ethan had fought for. But in that moment, something inside him hardened. Bonner hadn't died in vain. He had given his life for the cause, and now it was up to Ethan to carry that weight. The emotional toll of the battle was undeniable, but it also fueled his determination. Ethan's grief was palpable, but it didn't stop him. He knew that his fight wasn't just for him anymore. It was for Bonner, for everyone who had died, and for all those who still needed protection. His soldiers, his fleet, they were all depending on him, and he couldn't let them down. The battle continued with unrelenting force. Human soldiers, armed with the ancient fleet's advanced technology, infiltrated the Galactic Council's ships, engaging in intense close-quarters combat. The Earth soldiers had always been tough, but now they were fighting for something more. They were fighting for their homes, for their families, and for the memory of those who had fallen. Inside the massive enemy ships, the soldiers faced a new kind of terror. The Galactic Council had developed AI-controlled robots that were ruthless and efficient, with strength and speed far surpassing any human soldier. The robots were programmed to fight, and they fought with an intensity that made them nearly impossible to stop. But the Earth soldiers were no strangers to adversity. They fought back with everything they had, using the element of surprise and their advanced cloaking technology to gain the upper hand. The robots might have been strong, but the humans had something more powerful: determination. They fought with a fierceness that came from deep within, driven by the need to protect everything they held dear. Ethan led his team through the enemy ship's corridors, his heart racing. The sounds of battle filled the air, energy weapons clashing, explosions rocking the ship, the whirring of AI-controlled robots charging at them. It was chaos, pure chaos. But Ethan's focus remained unshaken. He had a job to do, and he was going to finish it. As his team moved through the corridors, they encountered more robots, each one more dangerous than the last. The robots fought like they had no fear, but the humans were different. They were fighting not just for survival, but for each other. Each soldier knew that their life depended on the man or woman beside them. They didn't hesitate. They didn't second-guess their actions. They fought, because that's what they had to do. One by one, the robots fell. The Earth soldiers' weapons tore through their metal exteriors, their AI minds unable to match the unpredictable nature of human combat. With each robot that fell, the humans gained more ground. They were taking back the enemy ship, one room at a time. But it wasn't just the robots they were fighting. The human soldiers also had to face their own fears and doubts. They had seen their comrades fall, and they knew that every battle could be their last. But that fear didn't stop them. It drove them forward. They fought not just for themselves, but for the memory of those they had lost. They fought because they knew that their victory could make a difference, that it could end the Galactic Council's reign of terror once and for all. In the heat of the battle, Ethan felt the weight of his responsibility more than ever. Every step forward, every victory, was a step closer to the final showdown. The Galactic Council might have thought they could crush humanity, but they were wrong. The humans were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for revenge, for justice, and for the future of their world. As the battle raged on, Ethan couldn't help but think of Bonner. His friend's sacrifice had pushed him to be stronger, to fight harder. Bonner's death was not in vain. It was a reminder that victory always came at a cost, but that cost could lead to a greater future. The fight wasn't over, but for Ethan, the emotional weight of the battle had only made him more determined. He would keep fighting. For Bonner, for Earth, for humanity's future. The final battle was upon them. Earth's fleet, having fought tirelessly across countless stars and systems, now set its sights on the Galactic Council's mothership. The massive, intimidating ship loomed before them in the void of space, its sheer size and power enough to make any soldier hesitate. But Ethan and his team knew this was it, the moment that would decide humanity's fate. The Earth fleet's final assault was a sight to behold. Hundreds of ships, cloaked and armed with the latest weapons from the ancient fleet, charged toward the mothership. The dark expanse of space was lit up with bright flashes of light as the ships exchanged fire with the Council's forces. Orbital bombardments rained down from all sides, their massive explosions rocking the very fabric of space. Laser beams shot across the sky, cutting through the darkness like deadly streaks of light. The battle was like nothing anyone had ever seen, an all-out war that would determine the fate of both Earth and the galaxy. As Earth's ships closed in on the mothership, they faced a barrage of counterattacks from the Council's eye-controlled defense systems. These systems were built to protect the mothership from any threat, and they were deadly. Automated drones and laser turrets came to life, firing relentlessly at the incoming human ships. The air was thick with the sound of blaster fire, explosions, and the whirring of advanced technology. But Earth's forces pressed on, undeterred. They were fighting for their homes, their families, and their future. Ethan stood at the helm of his ship, watching the chaos unfold before him. His heart pounded in his chest, but his mind was focused. He knew that this battle was far from over. The real challenge still lay ahead. The Galactic Council had one last defense, one final weapon, its powerful AI system. If Ethan and his team could break through that, the Council's forces would lose control, and the tide of battle would shift in humanity's favor. The mission was risky, more dangerous than anything they had faced so far. Ethan's task was clear. He had to infiltrate the mothership and disable the AI network. It was the only way to ensure victory, but getting there wouldn't be easy. The Council's defenses were formidable, and the closer Ethan's team got to the heart of the mothership, the more deadly the opposition became. As they neared their target, the intensity of the battle escalated. Earth's fleet fought back fiercely, but the eye-controlled drones and automated weapons continued to rain down destruction. Ethan's heart raced as he watched his fellow soldiers take down enemy ships, but the sheer scale of the enemy forces was overwhelming. Every step forward felt like a battle in itself. But Ethan knew that they had no choice but to press on. This was the final assault, and there was no turning back. The suspense was unbearable. Every move, every decision was critical. If they failed now, it would mean the end of humanity's fight for survival. Ethan's hands gripped the controls tightly as he guided his ship toward the mothership's docking bay. They had to get inside, get to the heart of the ship, before the Council could launch a counterattack. Inside the mothership, the atmosphere was tense. The halls were dark, with only the glow of emergency lights casting eerie shadows on the walls. Ethan's team moved quickly, their cloaking devices making them nearly invisible to the enemy sensors. But the Council's AI systems were no fools. They had detected the intrusion, and soon enough, automated defenses activated. The team encountered waves of AI-controlled soldiers, robots designed to be fast, strong, and deadly. They were a force to be reckoned with, but the Earth soldiers were ready. They fought with a combination of advanced tactics, their new technology, and sheer willpower. The battle was fierce, with the team pushing forward inch by inch, fighting their way through the corridors of the mothership. Explosions rocked the walls, sending debris flying in all directions. Ethan and his team fought through it, determined to reach their goal. The AI systems continued to attack, their robotic forces relentless, but the Earth soldiers didn't flinch. They kept fighting, knowing that the future of their world depended on their success. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Ethan and his team reached the core of the mothership, the central hub where the AI system controlled everything. The tension was unbearable as they prepared to disable the AI network. Ethan knew that one mistake could mean the end of their mission and their lives. The AI's defenses were formidable, but they were no match for the human spirit. Ethan and his team worked quickly, using every tool at their disposal to breach the system's firewalls and defenses. Their hands moved quickly, typing commands and hacking into the mainframe. But just as they were about to succeed, the AI activated a last-ditch effort, an emergency override that could reset the entire system and trigger a catastrophic self-destruct sequence. Time was running out. Ethan's heart raced as he fought against the clock, his mind racing with the calculations and possibilities. If he failed, it would all be over. In a final, desperate move, Ethan made a bold decision. He manually disabled the AI's power grid, cutting off its ability to control the mothership's weapons and defenses. The move was risky. It meant exposing himself to the full force of the enemy's retaliation, but it was the only way to stop the AI. As the power grid went down, the Galactic Council's forces lost control. The once deadly automated defenses fell silent, and their ships became sitting ducks, vulnerable to the Earth fleet's final strike. The AI network had been disabled. The Galactic Council's forces lost their strategic advantage. The Earth fleet had broken through, and victory was within their grasp. Ethan stood there, catching his breath, his heart still racing. It had been the most dangerous, most intense moment of his life. But he had done it. The tide had turned. The Galactic Council's hold on the galaxy was slipping away, and humanity's fight for freedom had reached its final, decisive moment. As the Earth fleet prepared for their final push, Ethan couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had faced impossible odds, but they had broken through. Now it was time to finish what they had started. The battle was not over yet, but victory was closer than ever before. The battle was over. The final assault had been won, and Earth's fleet emerged victorious, having dealt a crushing blow to the Galactic Council. The once mighty empire, whose ships had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist, now found themselves forced to retreat. The Earth fleet had pushed them back, proving that humanity was not to be underestimated. The sight was a testament to the strength and resilience of humankind. Across the galaxy, the once oppressive forces of the Galactic Council crumbled in the face of Earth's unity and unwavering determination. Ethan and his team had shown the world that, even in the face of overwhelming technological superiority, the spirit of humanity could not be broken. As the Council's ships flowed into the far reaches of space, the Earth fleet stood triumphant, their banners waving in the void. The fight had been long and hard, but humanity had won. The victory didn't just belong to the soldiers who fought in space or the commanders who led them. It belonged to every person on Earth who had believed in their fight for freedom. Back on Earth, the celebrations began. Cities across the planet erupted in joy, their streets filled with cheering crowds. People waved flags, danced in the streets, and celebrated the end of the war. The victory was not just a military success. It was a victory for the entire human race. Earth had stood up against the most powerful empire in the galaxy and had emerged victorious. The world had been united by the common goal of survival, and now it was united in celebration. Ethan and his team, though exhausted and scarred by the war, stood as heroes. Their bravery and sacrifices were celebrated worldwide. Monuments were erected in their honor, their names etched into the history of Earth for all eternity. But for Ethan, it wasn't the fame or the accolades that mattered. It was the lives they had saved, the future they had secured for their children, and the message they had sent to the galaxy. The victory celebrations were a spectacle of human resilience. The war-torn cities, which had once been filled with sorrow and loss, now rang with the sound of joy. People came together, united by the shared experience of hardship and triumph. In the aftermath of the destruction, Earth was rebuilding, stronger, more connected than ever before. But amidst all the celebrations, there was one moment that stood out, a moment that would forever define the battle, the sacrifice, and the spirit of humanity. Ethan stood before the world, addressing the masses. The world's leaders had invited him to give the final speech, the one that would resonate through the generations. As he stepped up to the podium, the crowd fell silent. His face was lined with exhaustion, his eyes carrying the weight of all he had experienced. But there was a fire in him, a fire that would never die. "We are human," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "We are not perfect. We have our flaws, our struggles, and our imperfections. But we are also capable of greatness. We are capable of standing together, even when the odds are stacked against us. We are capable of defending what is ours, of protecting our people, our homes, and our way of life." The crowd listened intently, hanging on to every word. For far too long, we were told that we were weak, that we were nothing in the face of superior technology, of AI-driven empires. But we showed them that our strength lies not in our machines, but in our hearts. It lies in our unity, our resolve, and our unwavering belief in each other. Ethan paused for a moment, looking out at the sea of faces before him. His thoughts turned to his fallen comrades, friends he had lost along the way, the sacrifices that had been made for this victory. The weight of it all was heavy, but he knew that it was worth it. We may not have the advanced technology of the Galactic Council, but we have something far more powerful. We have our courage. We have our humanity. He took a deep breath and continued, his voice growing stronger. "We fight not because we want power. We fight because we want to protect those we love. We fight because we know that when we stand together, we are unstoppable. We fight because we are human, and we will never back down." The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing across the planet. Ethan's words had struck a chord with every person who heard them. It wasn't just about the victory they had won. It was about the message they had sent to the universe. Humanity had proven its worth. Humanity had shown that no matter how advanced or powerful an enemy might be, it could never defeat the will of humankind. Ethan's eyes swept over the crowd once more, and he knew that the future of Earth was bright. The war was over, but the real work had just begun. The galaxy was watching, and Earth had shown the universe that it was a force to be reckoned with. His final words were simple, but they resonated deeply with every soul listening. Never again will we be underestimated. Never again will we allow others to decide our fate. We are humans, and we will fight for our freedom. So, to anyone who dares to challenge us, remember this: never attack us again. The applause grew louder, echoing across every city, every country, every continent. The message was clear. Earth had been tested, but it had emerged victorious. The human spirit had proven stronger than any enemy. The victory was complete, but Ethan knew that the story of humanity's rise was far from over. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and humanity had just made its mark. The future was uncertain, but one thing was for sure. Earth was no longer a weak, vulnerable target. Humanity had risen, and it was ready for whatever came next. As the crowd continued to cheer, Ethan stood tall, a symbol of everything humanity had fought for. The battle had been hard, the sacrifices great, but in the end, humanity had won. The message was clear for all to hear: Earth would not be conquered, and humanity would never back down.